Yeah. Yeah. Why should I have to share?
Why should he have to pay? Why should he have to share? Or choose something. That's why you buy 2 breakfasts if you have the breakfast, and then the breakfast.
With a good bubble pop. Is that you, Libby? This is a good one.
Are you gonna have a storm later on?
No. Tonight. I thought that was about there. No, it's storm tonight. When's the storm to meet them?
Yeah, this afternoon it's supposed to be storming.
Yeah. Best storm. The power, they say, make sure your phone's charged up because the power may go out tonight.
My husband's going hunting this afternoon.
Where?
Goose.
Out in the middle of state refuge. It's about an hour north of here. You just literally go out in the swamp.
What are you gonna kill?
Ducks and geese.
Also wind.
It's the end of the season. But when it's stormy,
Y'all better grab something for you.
we do. When it's stormy, they fly lower, and when it's windy, they fly lower. Geese fly really high. We see millions of geese flying and squawking. They never fly low enough. But if it's windy and stormy, the geese fly lower, so they're possibly obtainable.
Wear your hunter's jacket.
This is not. I have another one.
That's camouflage.
This one I just happened to get because it was a $300 jacket on sale for $75 in the middle of summer. And when I see that, I buy it. And it's warm. I have another one that I hunted that's really rainproof. But my husband used to he used to be a professional. There's something called skeet and trap and sporting place, different types of events where people shoot and try to get that clay disc. When he was a teenager, he literally traveled the circuit, and he would go all over the United States and shoot in tournaments. So he's like an expert. So he gets what he tries to get, but the geese are always too high. So we see, you hear the geese squawk, you hear it and you're like, where are the geese? And then they look about this big, and they're way up there.
Dang.
I used to go to a shooting range with my uncle a lot when I was younger. That's fun.
Yeah. We go and shoot sporting clays, the orange discs. I'm pretty good at it.
Ooh, you're late. That's right. That was the bell.
That's the fool.
Getting done late.
Yeah,
Alright.
I forgot.
Back to Earth.
It's hot.
You're tripping, you old.
What the
Yeah,
hell?
what did you just go run or something?
Exactly.
I didn't get any warmer.
We got hot flashes or something.
I do PE, that's why.
That's why.
Oh, you just have PE? There you gotta warm me up.
Get the hell away from me. I don't
Does it
care
stick
about
on
your car.
Oh crap.
Oh my goodness. What? Why did that happen?
What?
Is it supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Is it a magnet case?
No.
What?
Yeah.
There's no ice.
It's a go case, so it sticks to
Cool,
the
I have a hot
So it
one
doesn't
that
fall
sticks
off.
And it sticks.
Guys,
How
awesome.
cool is that? That I'd be flipping it up and it'd hit me in the face.
That would be funny.
That's not exactly what happened.
You're late, Wallet.
Good morning.
You're alive now. All
He
right.
went to PE. He's alive and warm.
I told you guys this. I want you. Hey, put away your gadgets, please. I want them off the desk.
Yeah.
Libby, gadgets away, please.
Mine
So
is
I don't
Yes,
want a
so-
muffin.
What?
Yeah, well, you're showing it.
Put it
Put
down
it
the
on your
bed.
phone.
It's shit on the bed. He said on the freaking bed.
It shouldn't be out, Libby.
Yeah, Libby.
Yeah, and that's still.
So like you're turning it on me as if
Andrew, you're
I'm the one with the problem.
It's not.
If it wasn't out when the bell rung, that wouldn't be an
It's not
issue.
on.
Well, you ready?
Plus, I give you hell because you're you. That's what I do. Just like you give me hell. Hey, I'd like you guys to,
You got water.
you don't need the books today. Excuse me.
You're nasty.
Classes started.
Mr. Water, why can't you on the board, why don't bring in books today? Cause then I would've brought my book.
That's why you live in the class.
Okay, she's saying
Oh, Mr. Wallace, look.
thank you.
Wow. What?
It's from my phone.
Oh,
It sticks on the whiteboard.
Oh, yeah.
is it supposed to do that?
Yeah,
Oh.
he called.
Interesting.
Thank you.
It's not magnet or anything.
Yeah.
Daichi is testing with Michael.
Okay.
Shop glasses.
And I'm gonna see if Pierce completed his
Off the
assignment.
wood shop.
that we set up. Daichi, really quick, is Pierce working with you in workshop?
Yeah, he actually asked me to help him, but I couldn't help him.
Oh, no. At all?
We're making heart-shaped boxes, and I cannot cut with that thing for nothing.
You can't cut with him?
No, I can't cut the heart.
Okay.
But he got help.
He did,
Yeah, I told him to help ask someone else.
Really?
Okay, thank you, that's good. Just point him in the right direction.
Ernesto,
Thank you.
come on, it's your senior year. Let's not.
I know it's my senior.
Let's not.
Oh, you're a senior?
No, I'm a junior.
Alright.
She thought you were in 8th grade.
No, damn.
Oh, do you like fruit? You don't want to answer that, but he knows it's a good one. He knows it. He's like, you know what, Wallace? If it wasn't on me, that'd be a good one. I'd be laughing my ass off right now if that was on Andrew.
Wait, what did I do? I didn't do anything.
I could tell by the look. No, I didn't say you.
I know, but I'm sitting in 8th grade.
So yesterday I said that I would take this piece of corn right here.
So, do you like fruit?
Go ahead.
I like them apples.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
What?
You like fruit? How do you like the apples?
What?
You're asking two questions. They don't give the answer?
You like fruit? And you like them apples?
Yeah.
What do you answer?
Kind of
Hello?
facetious.
Is your brain not
But
processing
you're
anything?
asking a question and you're giving them an answer. Why can't they answer themselves?
He did
Because
answer.
you can say, do you like fruit?
Because there's just a lot of
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
No, he did answer. He said, I said, does he like fruit? He said, yeah. And then I came.
You guys are gonna drive me to
Too
smoke pot.
quick.
No, look at you.
I'm just gonna have to knead it to like decompress at the end.
Look, Mr. Wall, every time someone tries to argue with me, I have to prove a point.
What point is that?
Even if it makes no sense.
Yes.
Even if it's absurd,
Half
you're
the
gonna
time,
prove
yeah.
your point. Hey, can you put away your cards?
Ooh.
Go, go, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are they like? Pokemon
Go,
or
go,
something?
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost cars.
You only said
Hi,
cars.
Pierce.
You did not mention about cars. You only said phones first. You didn't mention
You called me
anything about
Tata,
cars.
that's it.
Oh,
No.
It's today.
Oh, not everybody has like study skills, fourth period.
Oh, Miss Wood, you know what you should watch?
Have you done
Menace of Society.
We should walk
Yeah,
two
I
faces.
have my
Watch
last
me
page
face.
round.
Oh, is that the new thing in Netflix?
You like rain? I like that core. I don't know.
We should watch
If Pierce come to see me,
We should watch the Vampire Diaries. The originals.
Oh, we should watch old school gangster movie, like American.
Oh, no, we should watch
Morgan Freeman.
here's a good movie.
Let Find in the Hood.
Here's a good old school movie, Boys in the Hood.
Boy, yeah.
That is a good-
Leprechaun in the Hood.
Ice Cube
Is
is.
that-
That's a good movie, yes.
No.
There is.
Really?
So, like, the new one.
I don't know when the last. I don't know when.
I love all of the Sharknadoes.
There's a new one.
Those are so stupid and corny, but they're good.
No, that's real opinion.
Bye.
And
Dude,
Mr.
did you like,
And Mr. Wall is like
dude,
short.
take some meds or something. Good Lord. You were like, man, this morning was like, I could not get into my video. I said, you didn't just, and now it's like, would you stick your finger in a light socket or something?
With your PE, it will come up.
B, dog.
The blood's flowing.
Dog.
You guys are dorks.
Thanks.
Okay, no, not you guys. Ernesto, you're it. You're welcome. This is, see, that's how we roll.
Is it? Mr. Wallace.
You want us, hey, you want us to slide? Instead of rolling?
All right, so here's corn. Here are the tendrils.
Man, I love life.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Really.
Okay, that's supposed to be.
What?
I'm trying to draw a barn. Does it look like
Mr. Wallace.
That's a penis thing.
Okay, you know what? You guys, your minds are in
They're conditioned
the
to
gut.
look
Look, it's connected to corn. Obviously, I'm trying to draw a building that has something to do with corn. Okay. So it might look like a very odd shaped penis, but that's not what I was going for.
Draw a silo.
Yeah. How do you draw? Is this a barn? Does that look more like a barn?
That looks like a freaking.
Oh, forget it.
No.
I'm gonna draw boxes. All right, so this is a barn.
for you?
Let me do it.
Barn. No. Barn. What else do you need at a barn to produce corn? What else do you need on this piece of land to produce corn? You need what? Okay. So you need water. What else do you need?
Dirt or soil or whatever.
We got the land.
Oh, okay.
What else?
But it's not shown on the board. So
Sunlight.
we wouldn't know. What if we think it's floating?
Oh yeah.
Then that would prove that you're stoned. Okay.
What if we
Where does corn come from? From floating forward.
The ground.
Oh, what are you doing at lunch? I need to go to Taco Bell. Okay, what else do you need to grow corn? What?
Nebraska.
What else do you need to grow corn?
Sunlight.
Okay. So we got sunlight, we got water. What else do you need?
Seeds.
You need seed. Okay? Seed. What else do you need? You put the seed in the ground. Oh! Who puts the seed in the ground?
The farmer. The person.
Okay.
The workers.
Wait, I don't know if it's a person. Maybe it can be an alien. No.
Farmer.
Why do you?
Worker. What else do you need? You got seed. What else do you need?
You need a shovel to like.
Oh, you need shovels.
Tools.
Okay, I think.
Mr. Wallace.
Okay, that looks like a glass. Oh, you need a wine glass? It's supposed to be a shovel.
But who knows? Maybe it's a bomb.
What else do you need?
Mr. Wallace.
You need Mr. Wallace?
No, can we please close the door?
Is that what grows corn? What else do you need?
Sunlight.
This is, don't you feel
You're disappointed.
don't you
It's
feel
hot.
alive right now?
Sunlight.
You need sunlight. Already you got sunlight, we assume it. Sunlight you don't need. Sunlight's there. Obviously, depending on where you live, will determine whether or not you can grow corn. We already got seed. We already got ground. Come on, that's where the corn is growing out of. That's
Berry.
what else do you need?
Ooh, shovel.
Not a
Fertilizer.
shovel.
Scarecrow.
Fertilizer.
What else do you need?
Excuse me, don't
Thank
steal my
you.
thunder. No, I said it.
Okay, fine.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, guys. Guys. Fertilizer. What else do you need besides excuse me, guys. We're doing this together. Don't talk out of turn. I'm asking you guys serious because I'm trying to peel back all of the layers of the economy. I'm going to show you all the connections, all of the tendrils, the ripple effect of if you affect one thing, you affect another. Besides fertilizer, what else do you need?
A giant vacuum cleaner.
What else do you need besides fertilizer? What's that? Okay. Well, you don't want bugs, right? I mean, you do and you don't. You have what we call pests. You have bugs that are pests, and then sometimes you have...
Pesticides.
Boom. So I'm going to write chem.
What'd you say?
Pesticides.
You need chemicals.
Bugs.
If you're going to, and especially if it's an industrial farm, you're going to need chemicals. Okay, unless you're going to be an organic farmer. The idea being that organic farming is going to be on a much smaller scale. It's not going to have as high of a profit margin. We're talking, let's talk industrial farming now. So you need your chemicals, you need your fertilizer, what else? So you're going to need another place. My penis was originally going to be a grain silo. So you need storage, right? What else do you need? So we got storage, we got our barn, what else? We're going to need animals. You know what, let's say on our farm, besides the corn, you have, now if you have animals, I'm going to try to draw.
Yeah, horse.
The neck.
The hell is that?
It's a cow.
That looks like a...
It's a
a
cow.
reindeer. That looks like a reindeer.
Does that look like a cow?
It's a cow.
Yes.
The
All right.
slots.
No.
All right, now, hold on. We just made our farm, excuse me, Ernesto. We've made our farm a little more complex. Now, if we have a cow, what do we need?
Milk.
Thank you. You're going to need
You need bugs to melt the
feed. What else are you going to need? Okay, are we going to need chemicals for the cow?
No.
Of course you do.
You need food.
Do you think the cows that you see
Eat eggs.
on really big lots that are really, really big, grow that big? Have you ever seen a cow in the wild? You ever go to Texas and see a free-range cow? They're a hell of a lot smaller and leaner than a cow that you see on, say, a milk farm. Those cows that are ponderous and really large and have really massive udders, those cows are pumped up with chemicals. They're pumped up with hormones.
And also you need
Okay, steroids. Yeah.
So that's all in the milk, then, right?
Yes. That's why they say most American teenagers, girls, usually start their periods much earlier than girls in countries in third world countries because of the amount of hormones, trace hormones, that are in dairy products. Okay? This isn't, there's no debate over it. It is a fact. It's an econ class, and here's the thing. This is an economic point. Because you guys are asking, here's the thing. When you can produce something at massive levels, it drives the cost down. When you can just apply a quick fix to something, see, here's it. If you grow a larger cow, how much more meat do you get from it? A whole lot more. So now you get a greater yield from one thing. So a cow, which costs money to keep up, right? If you can get more yield, as a farmer, I'm going to want more yield. And I also want something that if it gets sick and dies early on, I worked on my father-in-law's farm, and it seemed like every time, for every, I don't know, 10, 20 cows being born, there'd be one that died. It was fair. I mean, it wasn't really, really common, but it was, you know, once a month we were putting down a cow. Okay, yeah, there's something that they can't do because they're not going to be using. They sold their cow to auction, and it was feed. And as soon as the first thing they did is, you know, those cows, you get them into a chute, and they would start injecting them with stuff. And I knew what this stuff was. But right away, they're injecting them with antibiotics and steroids. Yeah. And then they inject them with antibiotics so that they're not gonna die due to sickness, or they're gonna have a better chance. Okay?
So that's going through the feed.
That's going through your system too, and then there's a whole, school of thought that the more antibiotics we take, for example, people will tell you, the health organizations will tell you, do not use antibacterial soaps. You are simply creating the potential for super germs. Okay? Anyway, I'm not trying to bum you out. I mean, this is just, so we go back to the farm. This is reality. So you got feed. You got a cow. Okay? What else are you going to need to produce a cow?
Hay.
You're going to need hay, so that's part of your feed. Okay? You're going to need a cow. We got our cow.
Well, yeah, but you said produce a cow, so we need a cow to produce a cow.
You need more than one cow to produce a cow.
Oh, I see.
You need a bull.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that is the Louisiana corn.
Well, I mean,
For
yeah, you can have cows that have horns.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't know that until I worked on a farm.
Are you sure it's not a guy?
No, it's a cow. This is, here, I'll draw the third and the fourth leg, kind of in odd angles. Hey, do you need anybody else? What is someone that you need to add that you're going to pay a lot of money for that has to appear when you have a cow? That you wouldn't if you're just raising farm. You're going to have a vet. So you're going to include other people. And so let me ask you guys something. Here, imagine I'm a farmer and I have a cow and my vet costs me a lot of money to come out work on the cows. Do you think I'm going to be okay with that cost? Or do you think I'm going to factor that into how much you, the consumers, pay for my cow?
Can we pay for your cow?
Yeah. For the beef that you eat. For the milk
Plus
that
you
you
have to
drink.
pay for your slaughter prices.
Oh!
People.
Oh, so we're not off the farm yet. We're not at the slaughterhouse
Well, I
yet.
can say from experience, a vet can cost up to $300 just to come out on your property.
Oh, no.
A large animal vet.
Oh, hell no.
And more.
Well, what if the slaughterhouse is on the farm?
But you still have to pay for those services.
Except for organic farms, I'm going to tell you right now that they're not going to be. That those are different places. What's that?
You would need some place for the cow.
You would need some place for the cow. Well, that's the farm.
That's the farm.
So that's
No,
the
you
land.
need a gate though.
You know what? Excellent job. You need a fence.
That costs money.
How? It's kind of.
You need fencing.
Good fencing.
It's tiring.
Okay. Just time.
Yeah.
Oh, then you'll need rope.
What if you have to take him somewhere?
You need a trailer.
What if you need? Oh, hold on. So you're gonna
Those
need.
aren't cheap.
Oh no.
That stock trailers
Okay, we're making fun of his job.
$50,000.
Is that skateboard?
You're gonna need trans. That's a. You guys, come on. That looks like a freaking
That
truck.
looks like a seat.
It's
This
like
is a-
it's an open trailer the cow could jump out and kill himself.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for facilitating this discussion I'm trying to freaking have.
Wait, you're not gonna add like anything around it or like the cows can like.
There you go.
Okay. There's my transportation.
No.
Now, we need transportation. What do you need for the truck?
Gas.
Ah.
No, you need engine to make it go boom.
Okay. Oh, okay, very good. So you need maintenance. Okay?
Yeah, they break down.
You need a
I have
mechanic?
to go to the bathroom. Bye.
Who's this person?
How you get lost?
Oh, that's right.
You
Another
need.
employee.
You go to the tire shop.
Are you gonna hit the poor man?
You need someone loading the trucks. You guys know what they call these people,
Yeah.
right?
What? People.
I forgot what they call them.
Cowboys.
No, those are the riders, but
They
a
don't have
ranch
cowboys
hand.
in- Yeah, this isn't a ranch. This is a farm.
But it's a ranch animal.
Yes, it is.
It's a ranch
It's
animal.
called a ranch.
Right?
They call
Ranches
it-
animals.
So if you've been to, there's a difference between a ranch and a farm and the different types of ranches. So when you look at, like, if you go down to stockyards, you typically do not see cowboys working those, moving cows from one place to another. Okay.
Are they called ranch hands? Just farm hands?
So farm hands, you know. So when you look, but if you go to, like, in the Midwest, you're not going to see a lot of cowboys in the Midwest. You go to the Midwest, farms are much smaller. There's land's not as open. You don't have the same kind of geographic dynamics that you do out in
drive
the
the cattle.
Okay, so you have these smaller places, and they have these cows sitting in one spot, and that's why a lot of those like if you go out to a ranch in, say, Montana, you're not going to smell cow poop unless you're right there. You go to farms here where they're raising cows, or a ranch, if you will, where they're raising cows, or a stockyard where they're penning cows, it's going to smell like there's a lot of cows. Okay, so it's very different. So. They call the people who unload and load trucks in factories, they call them stevedores. Stevedores. Okay? So like if you, and sometimes in some places they have their own unions, and they can charge a lot of money. They're really good at what they do, or they're, you know, they can unload and they know how to load trucks.
Any kind of truck? Or
Usually
just
semis. So when you, like, I don't know, have you guys ever seen Tony's Foods? Those big semis that says Tony's on the side? Tony's Foods is a big food distributor here in Sacramento. Okay? So they have a huge warehouse, and they will deliver food to, like, say, like Safeway, Rayleigh's, place like that, have their own warehouses. Tony's Foods also. Just imagine it's a big warehouse, and they buy food. They buy a lot of food, and then they distribute it. They're a food distributor. They distribute it out to stores. They distribute it out commercially to various organizations. Tony's Foods. You guys have probably gone to the store before and bought Tony's pizzas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Frozen pizzas. Those come, well, if you haven't, if you go to the store and you notice Tony's frozen pizzas, they come from Tony's Foods. You have this big warehouse, and when you pull in, trucks, they back in, they're in a bay, what they call a loading bay, and they got these stevedores, and they're driving around, they got these big pallet jacks that they ride on. I don't know if you guys have ever been inside a warehouse. And they, because the inside of those big semis, everything's loaded on the pallets, and then they're bound to the pallet or the rack.
So that's how they're taken off too.
That's how they take it off, and they know where to stack them, and everything is, you know, you don't just load a truck haphazardly.
Well, yeah, it depends on where you're going first too, right?
Depends on where you're going, and then people, when they unload trucks, so anyway, you know, it sounds intricate, right?
It is.
When things, the more intricate things are, the more money it's going to cost someone. Or, if it's really efficient, the less money it will cost them. Okay? So anyway, we're back to the farm. We haven't gotten off the farm yet. I want you guys to look at all the tendrils branching off of this corn. And corn even feeds the cows, because a lot of their feed comes from corn. Okay? Comes from grass too. Again, you have the big ranches, oftentimes they'll feed them grass. They'll give them feed. And you guys know what I mean by grass, right? The most common are bluegrass, and the grass they call alfalfa, bluegrass, and the grass they call fescue. When you see the big wheels of grass, that's typically fescue. That's cheap grass, really low density of nutrients. But the stuff doesn't rot as quickly as alfalfa. So what they'll do is they'll leave it out in the pastures, they'll roll it into these big balls, and that outer layer will crust over when it rains and snows on it. And then when they need to use that grass, they can just take a pitchfork, peel off that crust, and underneath they got grass that the cows can eat. Okay? And that's a grass called fescue. And they'll just leave it in the field and let it dry. The stuff they put on bales, or they make into bales, they'll load those in a barn. That's really nutritious, or it's more nutritious than the fescue. That's typically alfalfa. That's what that hay when they bale.
Last time I bought it was $28 a bale. Horse goes through one bale a week.
See, in most places, most farms, they get 2 cuttings a year. 2 cuttings a year. And you gotta make sure, especially, dryland farming, when they talk dryland farming, you know what I mean by that? So here out west, you guys ever go by Woodland on Interstate 5? Have you guys ever seen those farms out there? And in the summer, you'll see these big, huge water sprinkler things, and they're shooting water off. That's dry land farming, okay? It has to be water. And the whole reason why California is this great agricultural economy is because of those mountains right there. Okay? Our agricultural economy depends on the Sierra Nevada, the runoff from the Sierra Nevada, okay? In the Midwest, they don't water their crops. That's why droughts in the Midwest are devastating. They'll wipe out whole farms because they don't water them. Because when it gets really hot in the Midwest, because it's so humid, you usually get a lot of rain associated with that heat at a certain point. Okay? We're all listening, we're all paying attention. Okay. And so there's different dynamics with that and, different costs associated with stuff like that. So they don't have to water their crops, which saves them a lot of money. Farmers offset the cost of their watering here in California, I know, by selling their water rights. That's one of the big fights here in the state of California right now. Okay? And as people learn more and more about water, and they learn more and more about the reality of farms and in big industrial farms, because those farmers, because they're a farm, these industrial farmers get to buy water too. And the water they don't need, they get to sell it back to municipalities for a lot more than they pay for it. They pay very little for it because they have a very strong lobby that protected them. But as people become more educated about it, they say, you know what? Why are we conserving so farmers can get rich off of water that we should all share? That ain't right. And so these are decisions that you guys can make as you become more and more educated. How do you voice your opinion? How do you exert your power? Through your vote. But hopefully you guys are going to vote based on knowledge. Back to this. Corn. Look at all the things that is connected to corn. You got transportation of corn. You got to get the corn off of the farm and into where?
Places that make things in.
So this is one universe. Factory. Okay? I'm going to write factory. You could call it the processing plant. You can call it the distributor. You can call it the slaughterhouse. Doesn't matter. That's what factory is. It's a general term for all of that. So it's where corn gets processed and turned into corn syrup, which is in just about every damn thing that's processed. Okay? And when I say damn, I don't mean it like that. I mean, it's just staggering how much there is out there. It's in a lot of stuff. Corn flakes, corn chips, a lot of things that have dough. There's going to be corn product in there most likely. Okay? Because they can take that corn, they can grind it up. Almost treat it like flour. You guys ever eat polenta?
No.
You guys like polenta?
What is that?
Polenta is basically corn grits.
Probably.
Have you ever had grits?
Yeah.
It's like grits. You ever had cream of wheat?
Yeah.
Grits, cream of wheat, polenta. It's one and the same thing. They're made from different, I don't know if you guys eat cream of rice. My son is really into cream of rice because it's really nutritious. It's a carb, and so he uses it to power his workouts. But it's more nutritious than cream of wheat. Polenta is cornmeal. The Romans, I told you guys before, Julius Caesar paid his soldiers while they were on the battlefield with corn. That was their pay. How much corn you get, because then they take that corn, they turn it into cornmeal, and that's what they were living on. They'd make a porridge out of it. Today we call that polenta. And then you could take that porridge and you could form it into cakes. Then you could put stuff on it. You could add honey to it, brown sugar, put a little butter and honey on it. You have breakfast. Take that cake, form it into a cake, melt some cheese, put a little bit of spaghetti sauce over that. Now you have a lunch or dinner. You know, it's really versatile. Okay? That's all the possibility of corn, all made here in the factory. Again, factory, slaughterhouse, processing plant. Now, talk to me. What goes into the factory?
Machinery.
Okay, so you have machines. What kind of capital is machinery? Physical. Thank you. Physical capital. What else goes into a factory? You got people. Okay, what kind of people are in a factory? And I'm not looking, okay, so you have, so I want you guys to think about what are the different levels of workers. So who are at the bottom?
Janitors.
Possibly. But I'm not worried right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do this. We'll go So the custodians, so the maintenance people. Sometimes when I worked at the Ford plant, see Ford, instead of contracting out, because the Ford plant that I worked at employed 5,000 people. It was about 6 times larger than this school, including all our fields. That's how large the plant was, how much land it took up. So whenever something broke down, there was a lot of machinery inside. The size of this one school, including all the fields, that's probably how much machinery was inside. Assembly machinery. And whenever it broke down, Ford couldn't afford to send somebody in, because if they had to go to the local community and get a repairman to come in and fix it, that would cost them a lot of money. So Ford was so massive, what they would do is they'd say, all right, who wants to be a repairman here in Ford? And Tyler Platts raised his hand and they said, all right, we're going to give you a test, and if you pass it, we'll train you and we'll pay you. And so all of a sudden, when I was working at Ford, a laborer at Ford, an assembly person at the basic level, you'd make $18 an hour. And you were guaranteed at least 60 hours a week. And if you didn't want to work 60 hours a week, don't work at Ford because you'd get fired. Okay? So you'd go at least 60 hours a week, $18 an hour. And if you wanted to be a construction worker who worked for Ford, and they train you, because when they build a new room in that facility, again, they're not going to subcontract it. They're going to get their own people to do it. It's cheaper for them. They give you $22 an hour to be a journeyman apprentice. And then once you became a journeyman, say pipe fitter, construction worker, maintenance person, you would get $27 an hour. Pretty good pay, huh? That's the power of the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union. Okay? That's got custodians. What else you got at a factory? I'm going to write lab. What does lab mean? What does lab mean, Nico? No.
Labor.
I mean laborer. That's your basic laborer. Okay? What else you got? Who's above laborers?
Managers.
You got your management. You got your managers, and above the managers, what do you got? Managers manage different parts of the place. Who's above them? The people in suits. Corporate, okay? We call those execs. Yeah. You haven't heard that expression before? Hey, be on your toes, the suits are coming. You guys notice whenever administrators, or if we have a WASP visitation stuff, those people who come in usually have on suit and ties. They have on jackets, ties, nice white shirt. You never see me dressing like that. Right? Okay? That's what we're talking about. These are the people that oversee us. These are the people, these are the real movers and shakers. These are the people who shape curriculum. They're the ones, hey, no one comes to me and asks me what I think about, well, that's not true. They'll ask teachers about a book, but we don't make the decision. If I have to teach a certain book, I'm told what book to teach. And now, I'm given some freedoms, but that's decided on by the executives, the administrators, the suits of the world. Okay? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 level, and then within laborers you have different, within managers you have supervisors, you have managers, you have assistant managers, you have administrators, assistant administrators. Okay? You have presidents, vice presidents, CEOs. There's other ones too. I don't know them all. All right. So you got machineries. Hey, what runs the machinery? That isn't human. What runs the machinery? Boom. So you got to have util. You got to have your utilities. Question: does a factory that grinds corn, does there have to be water in there?
Yes.
Yeah, just think of your basic necessities. Water's for things like what? They employ 5,000 people. That means at some point in the course of the day, 5,000 people are going to poop and pee. Right? That's all part of the utilities. Hey, you got to factor that in. You got to factor in the cleaning supplies for those bathrooms. You got to factor in toilet paper. You know, are you going to work on a plant that's like 400 acres big and there's no place to go to the bathroom?
No.
And it doesn't have basic like toilet paper and soap for your hands. And you guys following me here?
Yeah.
And those are all part of the cost too. You know, we call this the logistics of running a company. Okay, what are the logistics? Hey, what's the cost of running a company? Oh, I just need some product and a few people to put it together. No, you're going to need more than that. You got to have electricity so that people can see what they're doing. They need to work in a comfortable, safe place. They need to be able to go to the bathroom. Maybe they need a break room. Maybe it would be nice if they have a sink, so if they have lunch, they have somewhere to wash their hands, wash out their containers. Maybe they need a microwave. Maybe they need a refrigerator. And that's just to get through break. At the Ford plant, the break rooms had vending machines and televisions. They had nice, comfortable benches for people to sit on. And there were ashtrays because in the state of Ohio, they don't have anti-smoking laws like we do in California. And then there were separate, check this out, separate break rooms that were non-smoking. And the really big break rooms had cafeterias inside of them. There was a weight room, a fitness center in the factory. There was a jogging track on the factory. They taught yoga classes. Okay? Hey, Mr. B, what's up?
Okay. Good teaching. I'll bother you
No,
later.
no, talk to me. What's up? I can talk to you.
Got in 10 Chromebooks.
You already told me that. Remember?
Yeah, I know they're here.
And I said I didn't want any.
Yeah, I know.
Why not?
So, just
I
let me
just wondered, are you trying to like tempt me?
Okay, I'm a technology pusher.
I'm not, I don't want any.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I'm just pushing technology.
I got you.
Just like a good pusher.
No, you know what? I respect that.
Yeah, you know.
I know you mean well.
Wait, Mr. Barlow,
I know you mean well.
can you bring some Chromebooks in here?
You know what I'd like you to do? Take 2 of the Chromebooks, put them in a pillowcase, and then bring it to me, because I'm going to beat them to death.
Yeah. I don't spend like, I'll just use bricks instead, okay?
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yes.
Come on, get Chromebook. Don't watch Netflix and YouTube.
Okay, back to this, guys. You got the factory. So you got utilities, you got machineries, you got your laborers. What else do you need? Do you need money to run a factory? Yeah, so you're going to need money. You're going to need financial capital. Money, does that mean at a factory that processes corn, there's going to be dollars and bills sitting around?
No.
No. You're going to have money and you're going to be tied into this thing called payroll. You got to pay people. Okay? You got to have a business office. And the business office, they're the office that's going to send out what. Now, if it's a small company, it'll probably be the owner, or it might be some individual who handles that thing. If it's a large company, there's going to be a business office, and all the expenditures are going to come out of there. So somebody like here, if I want to buy stuff, supplies for a classroom, I have to go through the financial office. I place an order there, and they either cut us a check or they order it for us, or if I pay for it out of my pocket, they reimburse us. Okay? You got a business office, and then overseeing this, you got this. Accounting. There has to be someone who, like, any Yahoo can spend money. There has to be someone who can keep track of it. Okay? And this all might be in one office, or they all might be in separate office. And check it out, guys. You're going to have people who man that. And of course, every time you see a person, okay, it's a type of capital. That means it's going to cost you money to run that. What else you need? So we got the financial side of it. You got the people side. Human. I'm sorry. You got the labor. Physical capital. This is the production part. This is what they call the inputs. Okay? Your utilities. This is all part of the logistics, and that costs money too. It costs money to maintain them. You got 5,000 people who walk into a factory and every night they turn lights on and off. Do you think those switches get worn out? Do you think some clumsy ass person walks in and breaks the switch, gets it caught up in their shirt sleeve and will break it? Somebody has to replace it, right? Think someone gets mad and smacks something, and all of a sudden you got a broken faceplate on some, you know. All those things that might happen in your home, guess what? They happen at work. Okay? You got the financial side of it. What else do you need? You got a factory. What's being ground in our factory? Corn. So within the factory, you got storage. Just like on the farm. Okay? And you got loading. Not going to give it this name. I'm going to go S and R. You guys know what S and R stands for? Shipping and receiving. And in a big company, a big factory, a big warehouse, that's a whole separate section. Shipping and receiving. These are people who package things and send it out. These are people who, sometimes they're the same people depending on how big the place is. Sometimes they're separate entities, separate parts of a business. That means separate employees. Handling, shipping, and receiving. And of course, within shipping and receiving, you look up here at your labor force. You're going to have managers and supervisors, and you're going to have low-level laborers and higher-level laborers, depending on years of experience and the skills that they bring to the table. Make sense? Okay? What else you need? So to get from here to here, what do you need? What are the logistics of getting corn, Libby, from a farm to a factory? What's that? Okay, so we already got transportation, but what does transportation travel on?
Roads.
You need roads. So you need infrastructure. Okay? And who provides your infrastructure? The government. And so one of this infrastructure is roads. And is it as simple as a road? No. Why do you, so what do you need related to the road? Think of, you're driving down the road, what do you see, what do you got to deal with each day?
Dirt.
You need dirt, you really like
Traffic.
dirt. You got traffic, well, what controls traffic?
Stop signs.
You got stop signs,
Signal
what
lines.
else? You got signal lights, what
Come
else?
on now.
You got medians, what else?
People.
You got people like who?
I don't know, the people that look like this.
Okay, so you got traffic cops.
Pedestrians.
You got people, so the pedestrians aren't part of, I mean,
Not a part of
they're
it.
part of the economy. Hold on, excuse me. Pedestrians factor in because some of the roads pedestrians have access. Okay? But I'm talking about the people who are essential to making the road the road. Those people would be the maintenance workers, the people who build the roads. And typically the people who build the roads, typically, maybe not in a state like California, they're private. Okay? Here in California, a lot of it goes through Caltrans. Not all of it, but a lot of it will go through something called Caltrans. And that costs money. You got to pay those people. Okay? You got to maintain roads. Now, that's part of, according to Governor Brown, the gas tax. He says, look, okay, we want to keep taxes down, but we also have what he feels is terrible infrastructure, and especially concerning our bridges. And that's why Governor Brown really tries to push the train to this new high-speed rail. Okay? If we can create, we spend some money now to create public transportation infrastructure, which will cost less money and gets less wear and tear than our highways, the interstates, then that might be better in the long run. Then the question is, do you believe it or not? And, do you think it's worth spending the money now? Back to the roads. Besides roads, what other infrastructure do you need in order for transportation to happen? Okay, we've already covered that. So all the things associated with the roads, the lights, maintenance. When it snows, what do you do to the roads? You plow them, you salt them, so you need all that too, right? And when the roads wash away and you cut off communities from other communities, that stuff needs to be fixed quickly. And that stuff can be really expensive. Okay, so besides the roads, what else do you need? Do trucks run on urine?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need gas. Oh, where does gas come from?
Oil, gas station.
Well, gas is at gas stations. Where does gas come from? So let's take this road now. We got to go over here, and we got to go refinery. Refineries. Where do the refineries get the oil from?
No.
Where do the refineries get the oil from?
From pipes.
Right now, and when you say that, I know you're being facetious, okay? But Donald Trump is definitely someone that the oil industry is very happy about. One of his main advisors, Econ, is the richest American in the United States, and he is a huge oil mogul. He didn't make all his money from oil, but he owns, I believe, if I remember right, article I read about him, I believe he owns hundreds of small refineries, especially in the state of Texas, in the Houston area. Houston is a huge refinery. You guys know the Bush family? George W., George H.W., they made their money on oil. Big time oil family. Okay? So, the oil comes from where?
The ground.
Okay, it comes from the ground, and so a lot of that oil, though, is taken from where?
Country.
Okay, when you say the country, I want you to be, are you talking about the United States?
Yeah.
So, we do produce some oil. Okay? We do, the Middle East. So that means the oil must come from where? If it comes from the Middle East, it comes from overseas. So now we take these refineries and we're going to do this. We're going to write this word, ports. Oil arrives in our ports. And it has to come to specific ports.
And it's supposed to be truck.
No. These ships pull up off these ports and they hook up. They pump oil, crude oil, into refineries that are port side. So a lot of these big refineries, let's go back to this Vallejo. I always tell you guys this. You remember the big, when you drive into Vallejo on your way to San Francisco, And as soon as you hit Vallejo, and it's the first thing you see is the water right there at the Carquinez Straits, and it smells funny, right? And that happens at Vallejo. Notice that that refinery is really close to the Carquinez Bridge. That refinery, if you look like where the refinery is, and you look down, that would be south from it. It goes right down to the water. That's an efficient way to do it. Boats can pull right up, and they can pump right off of there, and it goes directly to the refinery. So when you see gasoline here, just like when you see corn here, you see all these tendrils, gasoline. Before it becomes gas, it has to go through this. It goes to the refineries, and the refineries get their oil from the ports. Sometimes the refineries are on the ports, sometimes the oil is transported to the refineries. They refine crude oil, and then notice it goes back. These are roads. And out here is ships. Okay? Here, I'll draw water.
There you go.
Okay? And of course, water presents a whole other array of logistics. Right? Because what happens when a truck is barreling at 100 miles an hour down the highway? Who patrols that? Who controls that? The police. The highway patrol. So what happens out at sea between this and this? And I'll bring this up because there's a very famous case. You guys ever hear of the Exxon Valdez oil spill? In Valdez, Alaska, an Exxon oil ship pulled into the harbor in Valdez, and it ran aground, and it spilled a lot of crude oil into this major fishery. Set aside the tourist impact it had, the environmental impact on animals, and it's not just about it's about an industry that is greatly impacted, fishing industry, because the skipper of that ship was drunk. He was drunk.
Yeah.
That's what caused the oil spill. Okay? Did you go to jail? You know, here's the thing. The poor go to jail.
Yeah.
The rich go to either really nice jails or they're fined.
They keep fighting and paying their attorneys to prolong things, and someone goes up in years can prolong things 10 years.
Yeah, it's really screwed up. Like think about this. Here, I'm just going to throw something. This is economics, but this is economics of the real world. Okay? You guys remember Eric Garner? The name Eric Garner? He is a cat in New York City. He was a young black man who was selling cigarettes illegally, and he was choked to death.
Oh, by an officer?
By a police officer for selling cigarettes on the street, right? Well, he got choked to death. Now, here's a question. You have CEOs of companies who commit crimes that cost taxpayers, that cost individuals millions, if not billions of dollars. Could you imagine a police officer going into a beautiful high-rise office in downtown Manhattan and choking out the CEO of one of those companies? That's justice in America. You know? That's the reality between the rich and the poor. So what happens to people who commit these crimes? Do you guys remember the BP oil, the explosion, the BP down in Louisiana? You know, BP, here's the problem with BP. BP is a British company. If you're an American and you get busted for a crime in another country and you make it to the embassy, basically they can't do anything to you. You have what's called asylum. So basically nothing happened to those Brits, the heads of the company. They got really bad PR. They got really bad PR. Okay, that's about it. Was there a fine? Sure, there's a fine. Who absorbs the fine? You guys, when you go buy gas. They're not gonna take the money, right? So, you know, that's. So now the question comes back to this. Do we regulate or deregulate? There's a good and bad to everything, right? What do we, and then will those things be effective? All of those things come back to this. Like when we talk regulation or deregulation, it all ties into this, guys. It's all interconnected. You guys study biology, right? Right? No? Those of you who've taken biology, when you talk about a whole ecosystem, are ecosystems interrelated? If something happens in one aspect of the ecosystem, it can have a profound impact on other aspects of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay? This is an economic ecosystem. Guys, we haven't got to the store yet. We're not at Safeway. And I want you to look at this web right here. And hovering over all of this web is government. And you have to understand economics in terms of government when you're talking about economics in the United States. Okay? Things like interest rates, the rules that apply to your checkings and savings accounts and your penalties, it's all controlled by the government. And so you guys need to know about this stuff. I don't tell this to you. I'm not trying to, look. All of this stuff too, there's good things that come from this, right? Because what do you got to do? What do we need corn for? We got to eat. What do we need cows for?
Right.
People eat. Yeah, and I'm not saying like, I'm not here to debate whether or not you should eat beef, be a vegetarian. It doesn't matter. Whatever you choose to eat, someone has to grow it. And if someone's growing it, then someone has to process it. Unless you're feeding yourself, and most people don't feed themselves by their own labor, using the fruits of nature. Most people don't process their own gasoline. You know? Do you guys remember that show in geography that I showed you? How many of you are in here? I don't want to tell this story if you weren't. How many of you in here were in my geography class when we watched 180 Degrees South?
I think we watched that here.
All of us except for.
The movie about the surfers and go down to climb the Corcovado.
Yeah.
Remember I said the one guy, the blonde guy that they met up,
The one guy that.
who my buddy knew? He's the brother of my buddy's friend.
Yeah.
When they took their trip, when he went during that filming, you guys don't know this. When he went from California, because he's from California, and went down to the tip of Mexico, they built a car. They had a Dodge truck, and they ran it completely on biofuel. They wanted to see if they could do it. Biofuel? Biofuel is basically, what's that?
Doesn't that make people fast?
Biofuel, it's just, everything was run by something that was grown on a farm.
Oh.
Okay?
I didn't know.
And so what they did, and so they had to like re-engineer basically the car. The engine and the gas tank and the hosing and all this stuff. And they had to stop, and the logistics was pretty incredible. They had to find out who along the way they could go to. And there's small communities, there's outlying communities where they say, you know what, enough of this. I know in Nevada County there's a biofuel co-op. So they had to find these all the way down from California to the tip of South America. Kind of an interesting, but my point being, they were able to do it. But that kind of thing, man, that takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of support. The world is stacked against them. Our lives are not set up that way, logistically speaking. But it can be done. It takes a lot of effort. It takes some knowledge, and it takes some skill. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here, and we're going to try to make it to safe. Well, what I'm going to try to do is connect all of these things to your house. Okay?
Wow.
It's weird?
What?
Is that what you said? That's not what you said? Oh. I said, that's freaking weird.
I learned something from
What's
you.
that?
No, I learned more than I ever learned today. Oh, I see more. So thank you. You're welcome. It's been a good third period.
I hope so.
It's amazing what it takes, you know, to be able to go to the pump for gas in the car. Or find out the store, or think of what they're doing. You know, nothing is simple. Horses, when people rode horses like
You sound like. Right, Mr. Waller, that's what you sound like?
I don't know, you looked at me and said something, I was like, well, Mr. Wells, is that, and it sounded like a question, so I said, oh, I didn't hear you. It wasn't clear.